been writing about doing semiconductors since 2009.
Hmm.
And I saw this problem many, many years ago.
Okay.
And I told the government, look, watch out. If you don't do semiconductors, you won't succeed.
Correct.
Everybody in India and everybody's uncle and aunt used to come and tell the government, let's do fabless companies out of India, which will design the chips, but don't make it in India because it's too expensive. I never believed in it because I said, look, someday you will realize what happens. And we realized during COVID, when we fell short of semiconductors in India in a big way. And close to 250 companies, industries were impacted. So the impact of semiconductors is phenomenal. And the earlier Senate head for intelligence in America, Ben Sasse, he made a statement about 4 or 5 years ago, if I recall. He said, the next war will be fought with semiconductors.
Wow.
So that's the importance of semiconductors. So good news is that in the last 2 years, huge movement in India Semiconductor Mission has been set up. I am an advisor to India Semiconductor Mission. They've created a $10 billion plan to give benefits to people who come and set up in India, which is the largest in the world. So if you want to come and set up a semiconductor plant in India, you get 50% of the investment done by the government, central government. State governments are also getting so excited that some of the state governments are putting another 20%.
Wow.
So just imagine if you have a $5 billion plant you want to set up, 70%, that is 3.5 billion, will get paid for. So you will have to just spend 1.5 billion to set up. So these are the kind of benefits that are coming up now. And I think if our biggest challenge in this country has been that we make great policies, but we don't market them good.
Well said. Well said.
We completely miss out on marketing. And that is still a lacuna in the country.
So, Ajay, one more question related to electronics manufacturing, then I want to move to the EPIC Foundation. You know, we are already big manufacturers of computers. We're probably, I think, one of the biggest for telephones.
Yeah.
What are some of the other major electronic sectors that India can focus on? I mean, I keep reading about electronic vehicles, for example, but I'd love to get your thoughts.
You see, mobile phones, we are the second largest manufacturer in the world. It's happened in just 3 to 4 years.
Correct.
It's a great story. But behind that story also lies a problem. We don't do any much value addition in India.
Okay.
That is something we must change. So we must design mobile phones in India and then manufacture. Then we'll have higher value addition. But let's leave that aside. The opportunity for us is in literally every part of electronics. You tell me which product doesn't have electronics. I can't name it.
Okay.
Maybe toothbrush. But that's what it's all about. So fundamentally, we need to be making electronic products. So I have given a proposal to the government recently, where I've said, let's work towards making India a product nation in electronics. And let us identify 500 products, which we want to make in India. And then put incentives around it and put strategies around it where startups and medium-sized companies, large companies can all participate and make these products in India. If these are designed in India, then we can manufacture in India. And that's really my dream, that if we can do something like this, it'll make us extremely competitive and will be a terrific alternate source to China.
Amazing. Well said. So Ajay, now let me move to the EPIC Foundation. Tell me a little bit about this foundation and what was what was your vision to set this up?
Well, we were looking at what was happening in the last 8 to 10 years. Till 10 years ago, 15 years ago, maybe there were electronic brands in India. You had all kinds of brands in television. You had brands like Micromax and Lava in phones. You had a lot of Indian brands. Suddenly, in the last 10 to 15 years, all those brands vanished and the Chinese took over. And I started talking about it a couple of years ago, and I said, India has become a colony of China. Because fundamentally, we've opened up our whole market to the Chinese.
Correct.
And we're getting nothing in return. What are we getting? Yes, we manufacture mobile phones in India, but we don't do any value addition.